Hey everybody, July 14th, 2025, and I'm here with your after hours recap. Boy, I think we should just start off with the most notable group, and that group was the uranium names. CCJ, really nice move, right pickup, almost right where it left off, almost off to a new 52-week high. LEU, new highs here, very nice move. I know some guys on X were picking this name up right up against the 20, which in an ideal world, this is kind of where you're picking these things up, right? You get a really nice move up, a pull back into the 20, a consolidation right up against it, and then really nice continuation from there. I did pick up Oklo today, and it was one of these that I was kind of looking for it to take out 7/8's high and 7/11's high. You could kind of see the high here, 57.60, and then 57.65. So I was just looking at effectively Friday's highs to get taken out. As soon as that level started to get taken out, really nice continuation from there. And it was also because an SMR was pushing, so it wasn't just it wasn't just Oklo, it wasn't just LEU, it was the one that's been running with it the whole time, SMR. So as soon as I kind of recognized the strength in SMR, I was like, okay, Oklo is kind of like that the retail kind of love name. It's the mid cap. Yes, they may not be the greatest company in the world, but it's the one that retail traders really go to. And literally right from the second I bought it, it was just an uptick every single 5 minute bar from there, effectively without too much headache at all. I also did notice some continued strength, and I don't know if it's got to do because of crude oil coming down, but you had really nice high volume close setup from 710 on DAL. So if you're effectively buying it through the close 56.78, that was definitely a spot to watch DAL. And we were talking about it in the room. It reminded me a ton of CCL, where you get the gap up on earnings, you get a quiet little inside day, and then you get the continuation through the close 25.70, and then it was just off to the races from there. Is DAL going to do something similar? I really don't know, but nice close, very, very similar chart. You get the nice gap up on earnings, you get a quiet little inside day on the second day, and then you get continuation from there. So really nice action in some of the uranium names, the airlines. I really didn't love the action in silver, although it's doing nothing wrong. It's just effectively no uptick for this thing almost all day long. And I was long AG, but I just decided to take it off, kind of take it off. I had a 904, and the last thing I really want to do is hold something that's just not pushing away from my average. Again, it could very well be the wrong decision, but that's just kind of what I decided to do. Going into today. Yes, COT data says silver is still a little bit crowded. So again, not necessarily something I want to be long. I did go ahead and trim a few more IBIT into this morning's gap up, and then as soon as we started to weaken a little bit, right about 9:30 in the morning Central Time, my time, I took a little bit more off. So nothing wrong with it per se. Something like MSTR is acting fantastic, but again, getting a little bit short-term extended. Still nothing wrong with it. Bitcoin acts fine. But there were, similar to Friday, you get the gap up in Bitcoin and then a bit of a red day in Amara and Iron, Hut, etc. And then today, Bitcoin big gap up and just effectively all day selling on Mara. Not the prettiest action there. Iron, kind of same deal. And everywhere you looked, kind of the same deal. You get your gap up and just all day selling there. So not the prettiest action going on in the crypto miners and really the crypto related, but obviously still nothing wrong with an MSTR, nothing wrong with a coin. Coin is just digesting the super big move. And then obviously congratulations to the Palantir holders, new all-time high there. So some really nice action. I still think from a handful of names, right? I still think Amazon looks pretty good, and I still think Google looks pretty good. If these things can get going, it would be really supportive for market action. And obviously, when you can get similar groups, in the mags effectively still going higher, that's always really nice, going to be really supportive to the market. But as long as, you're focused on stocks that are fairly tight, finding support against rising moving averages, similar to the nuclear stocks, that's always nice. Nat Gas had really, really big day today. Really not Nat Gas, but the underlying stocks. EQT, absolute monster move. And then, of course, a little bit of a bounce in an AR right off the 200-day. RRC, similar deal. And then otherwise, I really didn't see anything in the market that would kind of be some sort of red flag. I really didn't see anything today that would give me pause for concern. The market's just kind of grinding higher. You have to be a little bit more selective in what it is you're buying and when you're buying it. But ultimately, Oklo was a nice one today, a really nice pickup. And like I said, some trims in IBIT. I still have ARC, I still have CCL. So those are nice to have. And then obviously IBIT, which I just mentioned. So, it is a little bit more traction on the long side, but it's like very, very selective. And again, it's just like when you don't, you're not paying attention to a few names that they really, really start to go. Crude oil was down today. I'm assuming that this could be very supportive action for the airlines. Travel stocks continue to act pretty well. I don't know if, this thing losing the 200 and then, maybe failing this little, what could look like a bear flag, what that means for the market going forward. But, ultimately, crude's not really doing anything wrong. It's not doing really anything right. It is above its April lows, and it's just kind of digesting here. Do we get back above the 200? That is to be seen. And obviously, names like XOM just digesting here. CVX just digesting here. MPC, again, similar deal, just digesting. So a lot of these stocks have made, halfway decent moves, and, they're just probably digesting some of their recent gains. I don't really have anything to buy in the oil and gas sector until we can tighten up a bit more. Even recently, some of these names are just getting above their 200. That does not mean that they're buyable. So those are just kind of my thoughts, quick and easy today. Like I said, gold down a little bit, silver down a little bit, crypto with the gap up. The NQ and the ES act fantastic. The Russell acts just fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. So we'll just continue to take things one day at a time, see if we can't get ourselves repositioned, and hopefully, these nuclear names have some legs and want to have some follow through. Obviously, like I said, CCJ almost at a new 52-week high here, so some continuation for this sector would be awesome for an Oklo and an SMR. So anyway, short and sweet today. Hopefully you guys find this video valuable, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Cheers.